You continue forward, and while the ground is no longer an issue, you can just feel this heat, this ever-present, now sweltering heat. I'll have everybody make an Arcana check, please.
I can't wait to naturally fail this one.
17.
Oh, Christ.
6, and I'm gonna rock it. I don't. That's appropriate.
Oh,
Negative
Crash.
1.
Oh, you know.
-1.
I got a nat 1, and
Damn.
my Arcana is naturally
Your
a negative.
god has betrayed you.
What was yours, Samuel?
Arcana.
A net 20.
More like Arcanta.
Nat 20. Nice.
Ooh,
I have
that
an
might help.
18.
We'll probably need it.
Yeah, you will.
Sean, you get to roll a d4, remember? No, you don't. Never mind. You're the only one who doesn't. Ah, sorry.
As you continue running, you can feel this pressure on your lungs. Like you're gasping for air, not because of the strain of running, but because of this like preternatural heat that is just pervasive. It makes it really difficult to draw breath into your lungs. But there do seem to be small pockets where this fire does seem to be sort of magical in nature. And there are different pockets as you weave through this hallway that are better than others. Samuel, you in particular are able to kind of pick up on these. You're not entirely sure why, but you just have this sense of like, okay, as I'm on this side of the hallway, like it's a little bit better. It's a less strain, so you can kind of help guide the others. Karash in particular, who you see is flagging as a blue dragonborn, is not really accustomed to these elements in particular and is having a rough go of it. But you're able to sort of help him, like, Karash, stop going on that side. Come on, you pull him over here with you. That is enough to succeed still. The 20 offsets the natural 1. It's enough to at least get through it. And while the heat doesn't subside, the toll it's taking on your lungs seems to at least fall back somewhat to where you can breathe again. It's no more taxing than it normally is continuing this run. Not a full-on sprint, but still. As you progress further down the hallway, you feel this this looming sense of like the longer this goes, the harder this is going to be. Like you're already sort of short on breath. The immediate effects of this magical fire have subsided, but you're still kind of like, this is tough. This is taking an additional strain. There's sweat pouring down you. Like it's just difficult circumstances. I need everybody to make a Constitution saving throw.
16.
Rolled so low.
17.
Wait.
Matching 17s.
Yeah.
A 16, a 13. and
Crash, I'm
Crash.
not this so good.
Well, you made a Constitution check instead of a saving throw. If you have a different plus to that, that'll help.
It's the same.
Okay, so then an 11. So 16, 17, 17, 13, 11. All of you kind of know there's an end in sight. Samuel, you know that because you at least had it described to you. So it's like, this isn't going to last forever. You have to endure it. But all of you sort of steel yourselves and encourage each other along the way. And with that help, you all do pass this next leg. That is enough successes to continue.
I would like to be behind Karash pushing him. Come on, big guy. We're very close.
Like he's some old jalopy and we're just all like, you gotta take out the parking brake.
As you continue forward, I need everybody to make an athletics check. This is going to...
Oh, God, don't suck, Mike. Don't suck.
This is going to
your
test the
thing.
group.
God.
Guys,
15.
guys,
12.
add a D4 for the love of God.
Yep.
Okay.
Don't forget to add a D4.
I got a 15. That was pretty good.
20, not natural.
But you can still add the D4 anyways.
Oh, I might do it anyways,
It
actually.
can't hurt.
12.
You can do it for every roll for a minute. Like
Oh.
every row. You don't have to do it for one roll. It's all the rolls.
So then that means that's a 19 for me. Very nice.
12 for me.
Okay.
Turns out pushing Karash was more taxing than I thought.
Okay. So 12 plus 3, so 15.
15. You come across a section where instead of this long horizontal plane where you've been just running along knowing that while there's no seeming form or function to these hallways, they eventually end up leading you somewhere at the end. And instead of running across, now you see that there's these hardened magma rocks that you almost have to scamper up instead. And there's actually some lava flowing in between some of the gaps. So taking certain handholds and footfalls is precarious. But all 5 of you actually succeeded on this. As a group, you're able to sort of scamper up them and avoid some of the hottest spots. You certainly want to be touching this stuff. You know that's going to be bad. And you're able to ascend this short section before it resumes being more of a straight-on sprint. There is a light that is not red hot and magma-y at the end up here. I need everyone to make a survival check. You're almost there.
Yay!
Weather the storm for one last stretch. See if your lungs will hold up.
Hey, 22.
Oh, this is wrong. 15.
Don't forget your D4s.
I'm gonna add it now. So that's 16 for me.
This is basically the end of the minute.
15. I can add another D. I can add a D4 for the minute, or is it just a one-time use?
Any checks within the minute.
All checks within a minute.
And because you
All
guys aren't
checks, all
stopping during
attacks.
this is basically the tail end of the spell's time.
We'll make that a 16.
Nice.
So with a 22, that means I reached the door first, right?
I got a 23.
Fuck.
So you're right. That does mean I reached the door first.
Damn.
Oh my god.
Yes.
There's a sprint to the finish, all of you holding up well despite the rigors of it. At this point, you're almost getting used to it to some extent, as much as one can, to this just feeling of like not being able to draw air into your lungs appropriately. The photo finish has Tessian reaching out just before Isaac, and all of you are really right at the same pace. You're all keeping up pretty well, and you enter... the chamber before you sort of reminds you of one of the earlier ones. To some extent, it's similar. There's still a stone dais of sorts that you now recognize up on a staircase. Stalagmites, stalactites all around you. The difference is a much more reddish hue to these, and the room is just oppressively hot. The good news is, unlike some past rooms, there's no lava or magma coming into it at any point. It's like a steam room turned up 10 dials too high. It just feels kind of miserable in here. But it would be an appropriate place to take a rest. It might not be as effective of a rest as usual, he said hypothetically. But if you wished to take a short rest before what you know is coming next, you could do so.
Yes, please.
Yeah. That'd be good.
So the only way I
think Maya
can
was
use hit
muted again.
dice now to get my HP up, yeah?
Yes, you can spend hit dice one at a time, plus your con. And refill your HP if you need to do so. So anybody who wants to spend hit dice can.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually will do that.
Do you have Song of Rest, Samuel?
I do.
Well, apparently critical failed that.
So for each time you roll you decide to spend a hit dice and roll for the result, you can add a D8.
Hold on.
Is it 8 right now?
Looking for it.
The hit dice?
Yeah,
Yes.
because well, not you for you. I mean,
Oh.
for this ability, she's looking.
I see.
I can't find it. Hold on.
I'll help look too. I forget. I think it's a D8 at this level. Because before you spend too many hit dice, you'll probably have a bonus here. Yes, it is a
Yeah,
D8
features
because
it.
you are 9th level. It was
Because
a
it's
6
9th
until
level.
now.
Okay.
So for every hit dice you spend, you can roll an additional D8 if Samuel, assuming Samuel is willing to play a light little ditty while you guys are resting up.
Oh, wonderful.
I am feeling a little willing right now, so
Okay.
I pull out my viol and give it a little strum, little ting-a-ting-ting.
Yeah. It
So,
feels
Samuel,
inspiring.
while you're playing, we have a moment, I think. Let's hear this legendary story. I think we're all curious.
Which legendary story? I have several.
You were narrowing in on the one about stamina. That seemed to be the key word.
Hmm.
Although
Yes.
I'll admit, I would certainly be willing to hear the most legendary story you have.
The most legendary story that I have. We'd like to hear it.
I'll take that too.
Is it common in your lives to discuss sexual conquests?
Who said we're talking about that?
That was the innuendo was about earlier.
Yeah, no, you're right. We are.
Oh,
But we are willing to discuss any legendary conquest, sexual or
Any.
otherwise.
I imagine
Yeah.
for Samuel they're one and the same. So please proceed.
Not exactly, though. I'm glad that you assume so. I was giving a concert one night. It was surrounded by many, many gentlemen, women, all of them dressed in a particular fashion. You know, it was outside, and was given a great performance that night. Crowd was very energized by the feeling, and by the time that I had finished, well, you know, go to the back room. All of the, I believe that we call them groupies. Maybe that term is familiar for you.
I've heard it.
Sure, yes. Of
They were all
course.
throwing themselves at me, and well, it turns out we had a very special guest in that concert room that night. Came back around to, you know, the back room where I was entertaining several ladies at once, and she came in, and she wanted to discuss things, and well, you know, one thing led to another, and she was transformed into a magnificent, you know, creature. Striped.
Unicorn?
Striped unicorn, yes, actually, with wings. And we were having quite the merry time that night. She showed me some things. Maybe Lena could demonstrate.
Why,
If she
I
knows
think
this
Lena
one.
would love to.
I don't know how to turn into it.
Oh,
Pegasus.
that's the one barrier.
Or
Interesting.
any other animal. I believe I've maxed out my transformations for the day. I don't think I can do it. And then I just like put my head on my knees.
At the end of the short rest, you could.
You know, Samuel, here's the issue is I have to challenge the veracity of some of these stories because not only were you having an orgy, it was, as you say, extremely effective. You were pleasuring everyone to the utmost. It's a lot to believe.
Yes. Can I try to deceive him?
Is this deception?
Yes.
Then you can make a deception check, sure.
Cool. By the way, I have expertise in deception.
Of course you do.
Okay. Well, that is a 17.
How does that? Do I have to roll something now, or
Make
is
an
that?
insight check, sure.
Oh,
That's your
insight.
insight.
Insight. Okay.
Lena, what's your passive insight?
My passive insight? I don't know. I have passive perception.
It's your
Whatever your plus is to insight is what your passive is. It's 10
Yeah.
plus whatever the plus is.
So 10 plus 6?
Yeah, so 16.
I'm just gonna say, I have no reason to doubt this story. I think it sounds good.
Cool.
You heard Lena, right? I rolled a 19, but I'm playing along anyway.
hmm
Oh.
Yeah, he rolled high enough to exceed
No
that
need to
score.
question it.
So does
I
my
could reenact some things, but I don't think you need to see that. Tessian seems interested though.
It does,
Oh, God,
does
do I think-
seem interesting.
Is this a lie? Do I think this is a lie? Ha! I know it's a lie.
Even with his plus 1, he rolled an 18.
with a 16 was I able to see through it too or
Not
no?
passively, no.
Not passively. Okay. That's fine.
Now that you're challenging me on this, Tess, yes, actually, I would love to see. You could just tell us in great detail how this was possible. I'm sure you know the ins and outs of all of it. It's being true and everything.
I was thinking more of a demonstration.
A demonstration. Well, I don't know that we have quite the time as I check my watch that's invisible.
Where do we get to Pegasus for this?
And then I leer over at Lena, or I got major image.
I said, I'm sure you could just conjure one with your illusory magic.
Oh,
Although
God.
it would be such a waste, given that we have such, terrible things in front of us. I don't know that I would want to waste your time on this, Sam.
I don't know. I think she could waste it.
It's not a waste of time. And I look at myself. I'm a little disheveled right now anyway. I don't think I'll be making it to my appointment later. So I may as well spend the time demonstrating now. Unless you're uncomfortable, Tessian.
I
like this
assure
game
you,
of chicken happening.
I've had my fair share of conquests as I have traveled about. It's not for my benefit that I think perhaps we shouldn't be doing this.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, yeah, Tessian never left a man or woman he hasn't ravished. No shortage of tall tales today.
I mean, if you'd like to know, I could certainly share with you a great many of them, I suppose. I do have my own responsibilities, as I think I've described in the past, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We have a great task in front of us, of course.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, I think this was a very effective rest. Don't you, Lena?
Sure. If you want to call it that.
Lena's just shy. Not to be confused with disinterested.
Mm.
Then I kind
would
of
never
like,
confuse the
yeah,
two.
I guess that's accurate.
I need to burn some hit dice.
Go for it. This is your chance. And as you do so, I will tell everybody that you have been in this situation before now. You know essentially what probably will still be going down, assuming nothing has changed, that as soon as Lena starts to approach that dais up on the stairs, that some things will happen.
Now, Samuel, to get serious, Lena will change into the beast. If you know anything about elementals, that is a frightening prospect, but she has some leverage, some ability to control. We usually have to do a certain amount of damage, and then she regains her consciousness. So it is not as though we have to fell an elemental completely. The faster we can do that damage, usually the better it works out for us.
So hard or fast. Got it.
Hard and fast, yes, exactly.
Mm.
A little rough is fine too. But you got the gist of it. And think of all the stories you'll be able to go back to
Absolutely.
for your sex appointment or beer, whichever it in fact is.
You never bothered to ask.
I assumed a gentleman never kisses and tells.
Has that not been what you've been trying to get Samuel to do this entire time, Miss Tell?
I assure you, I've been doing a lot of telling. I am unashamed.
Oh God. Courage is genuinely just kind of like, just do this? I don't get it. Why would you just do it? I don't.
Yeah, it's definitely not customary from your island.
No, it is much more. It's not even that they were more conservative. It's just a little less like coy. Like there's no play. It's more like, hey, you want to go? All right, yeah, let's go. All right, cool.
All right, so Lena, my playfulness goes away a bit, and I say, "Are you ready?"
Yes, I'm ready. If you all are as well.
Let's spread out a bit to start, and we'll be ready. Hopefully, this goes well.
And
I trust
despite
you
as
guys.
much as I do not like the innuendo, Isaac is right. You will need to hit Lena hard, fast, and give it everything you've got. This isn't going to be an easy fight.
I'm the next foot in the matter. But sure.
he walks. He would just.
Gets into position.
Yes.
Assume the position.
Yes. All right, Lena.
And with that, I start walking up to the dais.
As you reach the top, with your companions sort of scattered across the lower area, either on the stairs or below them in that main part of the chamber, to space yourselves out, as you mentioned, a familiar figure apparates before you. At this point, this is the fourth time you're seeing Aurelia, but for, I suppose, Sam's benefit, a larger-than-life spectral elvish woman who sort of hovers above the dais, her wearing a full gown, her feet and the gown not touching the dais itself, sort of levitating above it to a certain height. Wizened looking, eternally young. It's always difficult to kind of pin down exactly how old an elf might be because they've lived for so long to begin with, but in her case she just seems to be the benefit of like the font of eternal youth to some extent. And she looks down upon you, Lena, and also sort of surveys your companions and says, "It is good to see you again, Fable dear."
And I give a polite bow and say, "It is good to see you again as well, Aurelia."
"You and your companions have done well to make it to the next step. Of course, you know there is still one more test ahead of you, but even so, making it this far is no small task."
And I nod and I say, "I wouldn't have made it without my companions to this point."
She gives you kind of this knowing nod back as well. She says, "Yes, as you are no doubt seeing, the longer you spend taking on different challenges in the Conatus, the more you will come to realize that everything you do depends on those around you, whether it's companions or family or friends or others. It's one of the most important tenets of leadership, and it's why you have to go through this, so that you understand that even as you yourself become more powerful, more attuned to the land, that you can never lose sight of those around you, even as your own abilities soar."
Oh God, what do I say? I just nod and say, "Yes, I don't think that the power will ever go to my head in that regard. I think with my companions here and my family supporting me, I think I will always be grounded because of them."
"That is indeed good to hear. I have more I will speak on once this is concluded, but by this time you know what comes next. Are you prepared?"
I am.
And she snaps her fingers, and it echoes throughout this chamber through which sound is barely dampened. And at this point, as you've sort of gotten used to, that this is the third try at this, Lena, you sort of feel as soon as you hear the snap, your consciousness kind of drops and is replaced by what appears to be this searing light just inside of your head almost. You have no sense of what's around you, but what you do sense in this altered state is sort of like the interior of a volcano, just bright, throbbing red light that sort of engulfs this consciousness that you do have in this limited state. For the rest of you, you see as her body is enveloped in light, just bright white, almost searing to look at. And that light sort of expands to a certain extent. And when it fades, you see instead a large humanoid figure that is just not just engulfed in flames, but the very nature of flame itself. Fire taken human-esque form. I need everybody to roll initiative as it cries out in agony and it echoes through the chamber.
20?
A 3.
Wow.
That's probably good for you guys.
24.
18.
5. Oh.
17.
Boobo,
Nice.
you need to roll.
Boobo!
Yeah.
Booba!
What's Boobo up to? Master of the universe.
Get your head in the game, Boobo.
21. He goes first.
He's
Baby.
not first, but
Oh,
you can't take this one from Isaac at the last second.
it's a crit. It was a crit.
Oh,
He did
Was it?
crit it.
Yeah, it was a crit.
then he does go first.
MVP.
Foil
And
again.
I'm sure he's going to put Isaac's turn to shame with what he does before him.
I forget, on a short rest are my grit points? Grit points are daily, right?
Grit points, I believe, are daily.
Okay.
Now, you can get them back if you happen to crit,
Or kill.
kill something, etc.
Yeah,
so
but
there are other
Crash-
ways, but that's part of why it is daily, is because you have other ways to get them back that are not the daily rest.
Crash took my kill even though I did 800 damage to that thing. It's fine.
Hey, now.
It's fine.
He did like 58 that turn.
It's fine.
It's fine, though. He says it's fine. The Elemental's turn is also a 17. So what's your plus to Dex, Karash? I think this is higher.
0.
Yeah, so this is a +3, so it will go before you on the tie. And that means that our old pal Boobo is first.
Boobo fucking boobouts. He gets the hell out of this area. He doesn't want to get hit. As high as he can go up in the air.
All right,
Boobo
off he
is-
goes.
So, Isaac has taken a stance during the whole conversation with Aurelia of like a gunslinger getting ready for a duel, but like the sideways one because it's cooler.
Mhm.
And you would all agree when you see it.
Everyone
Yes.
agrees.
And right before I draw my guns to blow this thing away, I seem annoyed at Bubo for seemingly reacting before I did.
And
But
the
it's
blood feud has
fine.
begun.
It's fine. It's fine. So I'm going to. I'm out of grit, so I'm just going to attack normally.
All right.
26 to hit,
Hits.
13 piercing,
Got it.
and I'm firing my guns. It's doing the thing again where it's not rolling. Oh, there it goes. Crit.
Hmm.
I forgot what to
That's a
do on
crit.
this.
That's a
So
grit.
you have
at
a
the
grit
very
point.
least.
Come back.
Yes. So how does the damage work on a crit again?
Oh, I think it's including it now.
Oh, okay. It says 14 plus 10, so
Yeah.
24 then.
Because it's doubling that die, so that should be 24 damage on that shot, which is a heap and helping.
Okay. Oh shit. No. Okay. I was gonna action surge and do it again. I rolled my main gun. If you don't mind, let's just keep it. It's an 18 with 16 damage. Now I'm gonna do my secondary gun, which I should have just done.
Sure.
27 to hit,
Mm-hmm.
14 piercing, and now with my final main gun, I'm going to advance. I'm going to use the grit point that I just got back.
Okay.
Combine it with sharpshooter.
Sure.
That should only be 11 to hit.
Doesn't hit.
Hell, it's my last big
You
one. So,
can't spend luck after you know it doesn't hit. You have to decide on the result.
oh, okay. Then I let that
So you'll
rock.
have to keep that one.
Yeah,
But
that's
just
fine.
for the future, yeah, you can see the result and see like, oh, it's an 11. Well, that's not very high. I think I should re-roll it. But if you give me a number and I tell you if it hits or not, you can't spend luck.
Okay.
So the fifth bullet misses, but the other four all strike true inside this form. They're all connecting. There's a physical form inside of that flame somewhere for sure. It's also kind of weird because you see the bullets sort of like sparking as they hit because this form is just so red hot that as these metal bullets are going into it and landing and doing full damage, they're all just kind of like sparking as they enter it. And then the form kind of reels back, but still standing.
Okay.
But 67 points of damage.
Sweet.
So that's pretty good. Takes an action surge, but still. And that means that we are now to Samwell.
Oh, okay.
Not to be outdone.
I would never imply so. I think I'm going to use that lightning bolt at 4th level.
Okay.
And this one I do roll a hit on. Oh, that's not good. That's an 11.
Wait, lightning bolt? A full blown
Yeah,
lightning bolt?
Yeah.
Should be
lightning
dex save again, I think.
bolt. Is it really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a spell attack, which is good because it sounds like you failed, and also good because I rolled a 3.
Okay.
So it's a 4 versus your spell AC, which
Yeah.
I'm sure is too low. So 8d6 lightning damage.
Yeah. Let's.
What level did you cast it at?
I cast it at level 4.
Oh, so it's 9d6 then.
Okay.
If only it was
Let's-
96.
You rolled a
But
9.
9d6 is still good.
9d6 roll. It's 21.
21 points of lightning damage.
Yeah,
You rolled low.
I did, sadly.
So this time, instead of coming from the skies, you see this lightning instead emanate out of Samwell and just course through the fire elemental's body. In this weird fusion, is like the flames are licking, there's lightning kind of coursing all over the surface. It's a strange phenomenon, but again, it sort of reels back from it. It's affected by it. No
Very
resistance.
cinematic.
That's sort of the goal. And you're sort of not near anybody else, so you want to move. Any bonus actions?
I'm not near anybody else.
Not immediately, no. You're probably like 20, 25 feet away from anybody else. Everybody kind of
probably
spaced out.
I'll probably just, inspire Karash again since, I like the cut of his jib.
Lightning bros.
Yeah. So,
Oh, sweet, bro.
All right.
little
That
eyebrow wiggle again. There you go, bro.
That ends your turn.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up is the fire elemental.
Ah.
Let's see.
The TM is chuckling. Run.
Well, there's
It's
just
never
some,
good.
There's some fun abilities here with one big trade-off that you guys can't really exploit. So I'm just trying to decide what is best. I mean, it's going to multi-attack. It's just a question of where and whom. Okay. What's its movement? Sorry. It is... Okay. Damn. Okay, so... 50 feet. It's pretty good. Despite the fact you guys are spaced apart, I think it's going to attack the two people that have attacked it thus far. So it is going to attack Samuel first, move away, so you will have an opportunity attack if you desire, and then attack Isaac. So it's going to split its multi-attack, basically.
I'll be ready.
On
I
a
know
piece.
it's coming.
So you can go ahead and start working on the opportunity attack. I don't know if this is going to hit you, even though you're just a lowly bard. That sounds mean, but it's the defense thing, really. That is a 14 to hit.
Okay. AC 14, so.
Ooh, it does hit on the dot then.
Yeah. And I'm going to roll a hit for the opportunity attack.
Yep, with whatever weapon you have handy.
My little rapier.
Got him.
Ooh. That is a 18.
That does hit, so go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. 28 plus 3. That'll be 8 damage.
This is going to
That seems about right.
8 damage. So this ends up being kind of a fun trade-off then. So the elemental sort of, with speed that's a little quicker than you're expecting, all of a sudden moves up next to you and lashes out with one of its fists. Just...
Oh no.
And we already know it hits from the check there, from the 14 on the dot. So you take 17 points of fire damage.
Okay.
And you are also on fire.
Okay.
We'll get to that. You then, as it's starting to leave and make a move towards Isaac, lash out with your rapier, strike it for 8 points of piercing damage. And because this thing is so hot, you take 5 points of fire damage.
What the
Halved
heck?
again. The good news is your weapon doesn't melt. Halved
And
to
you
2.
are taking half from all the fire damage. So
Yes,
there's
I
that.
am. Is it rounded down or rounded up?
Rounded down, so it's 2.
Okay.
Then it rolls over to Isaac. That is a 19 to hit.
Oh, just so.
You take 19 points of fire damage and are also on fire.
Woo-wee.
And that is its turn. It should be also noted that just for flavor / I guess it is technically a mechanic, this thing is bright AF. Like, it is emanating light because there is just so much concentrated fire in a small space. So, like, the whole room is even more lit up than it was before because this thing is just... So it's bright light in a 30-foot radius.